So I think we have a couple of people in the call, so I'm just going to go ahead and kickstart this session with an introduction.
Definitely.
Great. So welcome everyone to this episode of AAL MICS, which stands for AI Accelerator Lab, presenting Major Innovative Constructive Showcase. And it is a recurring interactive showcase that spotlights breakthrough work from founders and innovators in AI and adjacent creative fields. So each session is designed to foster exposure, meaningful connections, and knowledge sharing, driving both individual growth and collective advancements. One second, perhaps I'll just mute a few of the listeners. That'd be great. Okay, so we're very lucky today to have Mehta with us today. So a brief introduction about Naman, and then I will let him talk. Mehta is an architect, computational designer, and AI BIM consultant based in Delhi-NCR. He specializes in building AI-driven design workflows for the AEC industry, and that reduces time, cost, and manual efforts across architecture and interior design processes. So Naman has trained over 2,000 professionals across 35 countries through workshops, courses, and masterclasses, helping architects, designers, and firms adopt advanced AI systems and increasing productivity by 5 to 10 folds. So that's fantastic. So there's also information about Design Collective and Stage Lens AI, but maybe this is probably how we can start the podcast. So Naman, thank you so much for being here. Could you tell us about Design Collective and Stage Lens AI as well?
Yeah, definitely. So again, thanks for inviting me on stage over here, Adeline. Great to be here. So I'll just share my screen. Just give a little intro. So is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So, just to give you a little brief, everyone who has joined today's call. So, I'm the founder of Design Collective. It's an architectural practice that is based out of Gurgaon, Delhi, India. And, as a firm, we are primarily focusing on integrating technology as much as possible into all the practice workflows from interior design, architecture design. And so far, we have done around 10 projects. The practice is not that long, only 2 years. So, we initially started off with the practice, then we kept on sharing all the workflows and all the tools that we have been using internally to showcase what kind of tool to use for interior design, visualization, BOQs, etc. And we realized that there's a demand in the market that people really want to know that whether they can actually implement it for themselves. So with that intent, we started own AI consultancy as well that I'm doing primarily myself, and we are focusing on education, coaching, strategic implementations. If anybody or any firm wants to develop some in-house solutions, we are helping them implement it as product managers. And I'm also a computational designer as well, so I also integrate it with other softwares such as Grasshopper, and if required, we custom develop applications as well. And yeah, we have trained, just as Adeline mentioned, we have trained more than 2,000 plus professionals from 40 plus countries globally. And yeah, we are looking right now to create more innovations. We keep on developing software. So StageLens is one of the first softwares that we had created. It's just basic level prototype that we are focusing for Indian real estate market for virtual staging and real estate staging, which I will go to in a minute. And in Design Collective, now practice is secondary for us, and education, consultancy programs, everything is now primary for us. And yeah, I think this is about me. And I have worked with some universities as well. Right now, working with some architectural and interior design firms who are based out of India, US, Middle East as well, and we are working globally right now. So yeah, this is about
Cool.
me. I'll just yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for giving us that introduction. Oh, okay, let's look at this.
Yeah. So again, StageLens AI is a virtual staging platform. So whoever who doesn't know about virtual staging, so whenever we complete a flat or a unit or interior space, we need to stage it physically. So that's a very time draining process, and secondly, that's cost draining process as well. Yes, just like any other AI generation app, it generates and stages interior space as easy as that. The only differentiator we have is the pipelines that we showcase. So to give you a little intro about StageLens, what is the pain? So our main focus in Indian market right now, we are not making it global because whenever there is some global involvement, we have to train them and make sure that we are able to train the models or train the image models accordingly, right? So yeah, I think, is my screen visible? I think there's some problem
Yeah,
with the
your
internet.
screen is visible, but perhaps your video had turned off.
Yeah, I'll just check it once.
No worries. Take your
Yeah.
time. So perhaps the man's screen had crashed. So maybe we'll just wait a couple minutes for. In the meantime, I hope everyone's doing well. It's almost Christmas. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I don't know about you guys, but what I'm working on right now is that I'm curating a biennale for the first time. So this biennale is AI focused, and I there's a steep learning curve in curating for the first time, and I'm learning a lot. And this biennale is called the UABB, and we had the first venue opened at Oil Street in Hong Kong. And then there is another one at EKCC, so East Kowloon Cultural Center, which is launching next week. And we've invited some friends over, like Neil Leach, for example, Professor Neil Leach, Cass Esbach, Arturo Tedeschi, and Tim Fu from their respective locations, and we flew them here to Hong Kong. So some of them already arrived. So Arturo already arrived in Hong Kong, and I'm just excited to see their works. It's the first biennale in Hong Kong to be about AI. So I really want it to be very cool. And the thing that I'm doing with, other than the curation itself, is to work together with Tim on his exhibits, which is a diffusion model that his team trained together. And basically, when people move in front of the AI model, move in front of the camera, the AI model actually generates new images. So based on the movements of the person and from what the camera can capture, they can then generate like a motion, like animation on the screen. So that's going to be on an 8 meters wide screen. So I'm crossing my fingers it's going to work, because we haven't had the chance yet to try it out. So who knows what's going to happen. And Arturo had, if you guys don't know Arturo, you can look him up. His full name's Arturo Tedeschi, and he's one of the first people who wrote Grasshopper. And he moved from Grasshopper now into AI, and he also made a bridge for this Biennale. And Casasvec had made a couple of towers for this Biennale as well, so I'm really excited to see how it goes. And for myself, I trained an AI avatar on one of our other curators, so we're a team of 4, and another lead curator, I've trained his avatar to talk about this Biennale. Anyway, I think Naman is coming back. So, Naman, are you here? Yay!
So, again, some work going on. That is why, PC.
All
No
good.
worries. I'll just continue from there.
Perfect.
So yeah, is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, continuing where we left off, we were talking about some pain points, and also, we are primarily dealing with B2B, all the, third-party companies who are currently dealing with, brokerage work, wherein they are basically listing flats and all the empty spaces for their working. And yeah, main proposition is to, sell emotions, not money, save images, and, save money for all the users. Instead of actually doing physical shoots and physical staging, we are proposing them to do virtual staging. So you can save time. It's a seamless workflow. Everything will be sent to your WhatsApp. You can just snap and upload, pick a theme, and just like that you'll get instantly. So it's one of many ventures that we have created, right? And StageLens is primarily focusing on Indian real estate market. So I'll just give a short demo of the product. And so this is our website, and very basic, everything straightforward. As soon as you come to the landing page, you can transform your empty space into your dream house. You simply upload basic empty photos of your flats, and this is basically, again, just mention that it's focusing on Indian real estate market. So all the models that we have trained, custom trained. So when we talk about model training, whenever you upload an empty image of a flat, the output will be according to Indian context, Indian design strategies, material context, and according to the theme, we'll get the most optimum output. So as soon as you come on the landing page, we have all the basic info over here. It's still in prototype stage. We have just rolled out for B2B customers, but it's open for everyone who has to try, right? So we get photorealistic result, and the better the model gets at the backend. So right now using Nano Banana Pro at the backend, so the better results we get, and it's more fine tuned. So as soon as you come on the landing page, you simply just register, and simply asks you to upload a photo of an empty flat. So let us suppose this is the empty flat. We have kept it as straightforward as possible, nothing complex. So you have two options as soon as you come on the landing page. One is you can select a room type. So right now, the particular typology of the buildings that we have chosen is residential. We are not focusing on commercial or retail, but it's always recommended whenever we're working with B2B companies, we help them with end-to-end delivery of the software. So let us suppose this is the room that we have. If it's already staged, if there is already furniture, that might not be a problem. You can just clean the room and you can ask it to remove all items. And then let us suppose we want to create a living room, right? So we can just select the space. Now we have in the public beta version of the software, we have added 4 themes that is very contextual to Indian style. That is modern Indian. So modern Indian is amongst the hottest, you can say, interior design styles that we have, that most of the designers also do. So not just staging, we have also the design part in our mind. And similarly, we have Kerala tradition. So in India, Kerala is a very cultural state with unique architecture. So we have added one for them, one for Rajasthani. Rajasthan is again another state in India, which is, you can say, a very traditional, and they have one of the most intricate workings if we talk about interior. So we have fine-tuned these models and they're very contextual. So let us suppose I select modern Indian, I select living room, and we simply click on designs. And in a couple of minutes or even less than a minute, it will generate a design for us. As easy as that, very basic, just as you can do on any software. The only difference is that we target B2B companies, but also, if regular consumers, brokers want to use it, they can just, use. So this is as easy as that, right? So you get a comparative before, after. All the materials, all the furniture that we have chosen is according to our Indian design style. Then you can export it if you'd like. So maybe PNG, JPEG, whatever you'd like, and just like that, it will be down. So straightforward software, nothing too complex, nothing too, and similarly, if we want to go with Kerala tradition, we can select and generate more variations. So, simultaneously, we can do multiple design iterations that we can share with the client as well for initial ideations. And for B2B companies, we are also offering WhatsApp pipelines, and they can, actually chat with the bot. So you see, this particular design style is quite different, right? In Kerala based homes, yes, it could be better, but I still, there's a quite substantial amount of difference in each of the images that you see, right? So this is the modern Indian, quite different. Then there is Kerala, there is Rajasthani, and more if required by the client. So yeah, this is about it for Wavelengths. Very basic, very straightforward tool. Another venture that we are working with is Safa Homes, but we don't have a presentation ready. We have not made it public as of now, but it's an end-to-end design tool with the focus on sustainability, and especially in Indian context, because we have very local design techniques that are not very mainstream but quite unique. So Safa Homes, I'm an advisor over there. I'm not co-founder over there. So it's run by a colleague of mine, Tuhit, and he's running it from Bangalore. So yeah, going good.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing us all that. It's all very exciting. You're definitely a hustler. What motivates you? What is exciting you the most, and what motivates you to go into these ventures?
So it dates back to when I was actually doing my first job in Delhi 4 years back in 2021. So that is when I got to know what is actual architectural practice is like in India. Initially, I
Mm,
thought that it is, very hectic, very, I used to
mm.
work again 16 hours every day, and
Oh
that was too
wow.
hectic for me. And then I realized that most of my time is not actually going into to do something creative, which I was initially
Mm,
thought that architecture is all about. Instead,
mm,
I was primarily focusing on the manual work, all the drafting
mm,
work, coordination, BOQs, whatever manual work that could be or should be automated.
mm,
So moving forward, I decided let's do something to accelerate it even more. So I did computational design diploma course. So
mm,
there was a connection with the fact that why not focus on things that actually matter and learn skills that cut down all of this manual work. And then, AI is quite new. Only 2, 3 years back, only it started getting some substantial attention. So then in 2022, we started integrating AI into our workflows. We started getting some results. And the main, we can say, the motivation or the driving force that makes me want to make some new tools. Again, everybody wants to do good in their career, but mine is also to create awareness and also to help all the 21, 22-year namans who were struggling, who,
mm,
like I was struggling 4 years back, who
mm,
may struggling right now, help them showcase some quick insights and give them access to these tools so that their jobs are much easier or their workflows are much easier. So for them
mm.
only.
Very cool. So how many people are in your team right now?
Right now, we usually work on collaboration basis. So whenever we are doing some architecture or interior design project, we do it with the outsourcing team. I have a bunch of freelancer with me, with which I usually work about, and we have Nitish. So Nitish is also based out of Delhi, and right now, Nitish and me are working on developing StageLens. So he's the co-founder of StageLens, and I'm also co-founder of StageLens. And for Safa Homes, I'm working as an advisor with Tuhid Ahmed, out of Bangalore, and I'm also working as a creative partner at X Figura, which in your previous session George was there to showcase all about. So I have hands in multiple things right now.
I can see that, yeah. And how many people are in your community? You have a lot of followers.
Yeah. So again, I initially started off publishing content on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and initially, so Mayur is also one of our friend consultants who introduced me primarily to this domain. So he created a WhatsApp community, and with which we had some good amount of interactions. I think we were also connected through there only. Then I also established another community, but the main focus was to not only add specialists, but also add all the enthusiasts who want to learn more about it so that they get more exposure and they have more accessibility to the networks. And similarly on LinkedIn, we started pushing out content, and the main intent of pushing out content wasn't to get some traction, but to actually showcase some meaningful content that anybody can implement. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. So very big community, and this community is mostly, do you think it's in from coming from a region of India?
yeah, most of them 70-75% come out of India, but yeah, we have global experts as well who are working with us. I keep on doing workshops and webinars with I've done previously with George, with Alistair as well. So Alistair, you must also know, Alistair is also based out of Europe. He's also an AI consultant himself, and that is how we build an expert panel as well, and also a learning panel who is interested to be a part of this domain.
Great. So can you tell me more about the scene in India right now in terms of how much, to what extent has AI already been implemented in the AEC industry, and what is the general attitude towards that happening?
I think in India, the technology adoption, I believe, is amongst the slowest globally. So let us suppose talking about BIM in this case. So BIM has been, yes, BIM is now getting some good amount of traction, especially in large projects, because the government itself is backing the initiative wherein you have to have all of this data centralized in a BIM platform, such as airports, railway stations, or any other big project with more than 10,000 square yards or square meters of area. And secondly, in terms of AI, I believe like it's something that is very contextual. So in India, most of the software's operations that we usually do is not licensed, to be honest. People usually tend to
Right.
save cost on the software side. So let us suppose in USA and Europe, people or company are investing about 2.5% to 3% in technology and softwares. In India, it's not even that. People tend to ignore the software part about that. But since AI came into the chapter, people realized that so the main thing about AI and as compared to BIM has a very steep learning curve. You have to learn new software. Revit in itself is a very complex software that most of the people tend to maybe procrastinate and leave it by, or never learn it. Whereas in AI, it's more about workflow based, pipeline based. The tools itself, it's very easy. Basically, you can design any interior space just like that by using your words. But how do you use those words? How do you do prompt engineering? How do you establish efficient pipelines? That is more important. So it's getting traction. I will say not as much as we have in Europe, in Hong Kong, or maybe in US. In Middle East as well, people are getting good amount of traction. But in India, like so far in Delhi, we have two tech consultants who are at the front runners themselves. And for the companies, they are mostly focused on visualizations, as they tend to ignore the other part, such as automated documentation for drawings, for BOQs, and for some other workflows. I believe it's still, you can say, 2 years behind, 5 years behind if we talk about the adoption. So let us suppose 20% or 30% firms are now adopting AI in Middle East, US, or Europe. In India, it's only 2 to 3%.
I see. Yeah, you paint a good picture and that's good information to know. In regards to people picking up concept design and schematic design first and maybe not being as enthusiastic they should be about the automation and the code compliance stuff, I can also probably make like a small comparison to Hong Kong because I think in Hong Kong, I think architects are most interested in AI management and automation and that because first of all, in Hong Kong, we're a very built environment already. So therefore, the need for concept design is probably much less. There aren't that many new builds, right? And in comparison to adaptive reuse projects, in comparison to renovation projects, etc. So, and the latter projects that I just mentioned, they are mostly requiring for architects to project manage and to look into automation and to look into code compliance. So they really want to save the fun part for themselves, and they really want to get AI to automate or agentic workflows to help them on the boring stuff. Now, that being said, that's what they want to do, but what they can do first would be still the concept design because the barrier of entry is so low, it's almost non-existent. So they hardly need to spend any time or effort in picking that up at the beginning. So that's something interesting that I find. But I find it also interesting that you may think that there's a large adoption in Hong Kong in AI. Actually, it's not that much, I think, like
Okay.
from what I see. Yeah. I would say that's probably in mainland China, they are maybe all or the large majority of them have already implemented AI. But I think in Hong Kong, I haven't really seen that movement yet, but it's slowly growing. And it sometimes it has to be top down as well. It has to be driven by, governance. It has to be encouraged by, the societies, the councils, etc. And it's slowly coming around, but the incentive hasn't been that strong yet because of also tight budgets and timelines, etc. And in Hong Kong, there's a famous saying that it's too expensive to fail. Yeah, so therefore about taking risk is not what everyone will choose to do. So I wonder if that's also, the same in India, or maybe, I guess, like you mentioned, perhaps slightly different in terms of, I think, people may feel more, welcoming with the innovation, but perhaps there are other reasons why they not the majority has already taken up AI.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not that it's too expensive to fail over here. Right? People can try to pursue new fields. I myself try to pursue, this particular domain, and so far it's going good. Initially, so it all depends on what's happening in the back end. So if tools are not actually good, then what's the point of actually implementing, integrating APIs, fine-tuning them, and all of that. So I won't say that it's expensive to fail in India, because in India the opportunity cost is not that high. You can just,
Mm,
rent out a space or maybe work at your home itself. There are not much compliance in terms of do you need to register your company or not, or you want to keep in some standards and compliances in place, because it's always good to run an online agency just like that with, if you have a minimal revenue in hand. Yes, of course, if they're talking in terms of taxation, yes, you have to make sure that everything goes well. But the second thing that you asked is, AI adoption in India. The opportunity cost is not that high, but people actually realizing that you're doing something that may benefit them. So architects, I'm not talking about AI in this case, architecture in itself, people tend to believe that it shouldn't be expensive. It should be cheap, because there is no physical value to it. There's only a digital value to it. So in India, people tend to perceive, or they perceive, that if it's not physical, then it shouldn't be expensive. So we have a very
mm,
strong connection to all the physical things. Giving you an
mm,
example, let us suppose if I'm an architect who is doing all the consultation and design work for a house. So they tend to believe that why should we actually pay that much? We should pay the contractor instead, because he's actually
oh,
making profit. So it's like
mm,
that. And the another thing sometimes is the regulations and the power that an architect have in this country is,
mm.
it's first of all, in India, a contractor can also practice architecture even if he doesn't have a license.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So all of these things may, really demotes the market and architectural industry in itself. And if you also involve AI, they don't. Most most firms, they don't tend to actually care about it if it's not getting them some monetary profit. So let us
Mm-hmm.
suppose I'm spending around maybe $500 or $1,000 a month on softwares, on AI softwares. I have a software stack. So if that $1,000 is not becoming $10,000 for them, they won't care about it, because the resources, especially in terms of freshers, and it's quite cheap in India. So
Mm-hmm.
they tend to hire these people rather than actually paying the software. But that is something that people are also realizing, that resource optimization, if you create a hybrid workflow of resource optimization with good amount of softwares, then only you'll be able to do some profitable work. So yeah, in
Okay,
India it's
interesting.
basically more physical work that people usually. And the second and one more important thing is that the community is very close knitted over here. We have like cousins, brothers, sisters, parents, they live together in harmony. That's a very good point about it. But the drawback about this is that they tend to squeeze you out for your professional services as well. So let us suppose
Oh,
my cousin, or maybe so that is, yeah. So let us suppose after there is a relative of mine. So we have very, you can say, good roots to our cousins, brothers and sister branches. So let us suppose my brother's cousin brother, he's not related to me, but he's my brother's cousin brother. He wants to get some architectural drawings done. So he reproached me, but it will be understood between my brother and him that I won't be paying him. Like, he won't be paying me. So I will do his work
because
for
you're
free.
family. Because you're
Yes, yes,
family.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
but you
It's
have family.
yeah, everyone has in
Wow.
India. So
Right.
that is
Yeah, of
one
course.
drawback, especially if you have established a local agencies. For example, my firm, I'm also
Mm,
based out of Delhi-NCR. My firm is also based out of Delhi-NCR. So I have all of my relatives over here. It may be a
hmm
little better if I am based out of here, but I'm working from Bangalore or maybe from Mumbai or something like that, because
Okay.
they are not
Interesting.
based out of there. But yeah, this sometimes pushes the person back a little bit,
Yeah.
and can be
I see.
sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That's something I didn't think about at all, but you just opened my horizon in that, it's one of the drawbacks could really be that. So I think that's a very interesting cultural aspect indeed. Before we continue this very interesting conversation, do you have anything else you want to show on screen? Just want to make
Yeah.
sure that you've gone through everything you
Um,
want to show.
like in terms of our software, I think I have already showcased Stage Lens AI. There are some, good demographics or some economic, if for the attendees, I can share if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please go ahead.
Definitely. One second. So I just hope my PC doesn't crash again while I share, but
No worries.
fingers crossed. So this is, yeah, so this is what I have already shared. And
Mm-hmm.
a couple of infographics. Do you happen to know Chantal Matter as well? She's also, I think, one of the front runners in this domain, but she's specializing in a couple of softwares. So I really found this infographic quite intuitive, wherein in
Mm-hmm.
1988 people were protesting against calculators and mostly mathematicians, but we also see this kind of friction, that scare that AI can replace you or something like that
Mm-hmm.
in 2025, 2020, and subsequent years. So just wanted to reiterate that, where would we be today if there was no calculators today? It's a very
Mm-hmm.
important or integral part, just like internet. So without internet, just as we are having this conversation, it wouldn't have been there. People wouldn't have been able to get this exposure if there was no internet.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I should believe, yes, the market will change dynamically. It's, you can say, the internet of 2000s, just as many offline
Mm-hmm.
businesses were affected after internet, but still they survived somehow. They adapted themselves. So it's more like an important journey towards something better. And in order to achieve great things, you have to adapt. So this particular infographic, I found it quite astounding, and some workflows that we usually target about whenever we are working some architectural firms. So let us suppose we are working in research. So I usually guide them and help them create this entire charts about which tool to use for concept design, for schematic design, design development. I believe something similar is also followed in Hong Kong, right? Yeah. So
More or
like for
less, yeah,
document.
it's always the same kind of few stages.
Yes. So again, I think there is always, you have to understand what kind of pain points do you want to solve, and
Mm.
according to pain points, develop a stack, right? A small stack that people, anybody who's attending can also take a snapshot of that. For research, ChatGPT is always there. Gemini, Perplexity is also good, and Hype, Test Fit, Autodesk Forma for sustainability and analysis.
Mm.
Also for visualization, all of these tools and stacks really help us a lot with that. that. And so, as I've been doing research about the innovation levels in architecture firms, so this data is from McKinsey and Company and Deloitte, and it's a cumulative data where it's understood that the innovation level in AI driven firms is much higher as compared to the firms or the traditional firms who are still stuck behind post 2020 workflows wherein they haven't integrated AI at all. And the AI usage in the new firms just like me, it's 75%. So 3 out of 4 firms right now, they start with the fact that AI has to be an integral part of it. So the competition is also increasing side by side. So let us suppose, my competitor is doing 10 projects a year, but I'm using AI, I may be able to do 100 projects because the productivity is much higher at the same time. So scaling won't be a big deal. And again, recruitment priorities are also changing simultaneously. So the recruitment priorities of architecture firms have now, like 60% of the new firms, they tend to see that the person is acquainted with this softwares. Personally, in India, I haven't seen any AI specialist jobs for architecture, but I already have a couple of them in pipeline, wherein I know some architectural firm owners who actually want a dedicated resource for AI R&D for architectural and construction workflows. I'm sure this is more systematic and established in firms based out of Europe, US, maybe Hong Kong as well. I'm not sure. But these things are really changing right now. And the market valuation, when you talk about the growth of AI driven architecture market, is also changing substantially. So the market is already, almost, it has increased by 50% right now since 2023, to increase to 3 times by 2028. So the Economic Forum also predicts that the next 5 years, so this is very important infographic before we dive on to the World Economic Forum. So, this was a big news in town a couple of months back, 3 months back, wherein Meta was actually poaching AI researcher from, OpenAI for $100 million, wherein Ronaldo was only signed to, that was quite long ago, but still, like, you must know the guy on the left, but most people don't know the guy on the right. But that is actually the value that AI is actually bringing to the stakeholders, especially if people are willing to learn. I won't say anyone that you will earn $100 million, but again, it's very, very substantial. Yeah, I think my please again. I have to join again. Is my screen visible still?
Yeah, your screen's totally visible. We can still hear your
Okay.
voice completely fine.
Okay, no, I'll just continue till the time it works
Sure,
out.
sure.
So, yeah, the technology trends are also changing. So, these are some sources from the World Economic Forum for the the future of job survey in India, that, globally it predicts that, AI information and processing technologies will change. The robots and autonomous systems will also change drastically in the next 5 years. Similarly, the digital access is increasing drastically, right? And yeah, I think this is some important graphs that I wanted to showcase. I'll be more than happy to share it with you post this call as well, so that you can share it with all of your attendees as well. So
Nice.
talking about AI skills is the most important skills that have to be taken into consideration. Similarly, with the core skills by 2030 is obviously AI and big data, right? Everybody wants to look around AI and big data. So these were some infographics that I wanted to share. I'll be joining again. I'll have to maybe restart Zoom again, but
Okay.
yeah, it's hanging again. But just give me a couple of minutes.
No problem. So I guess while we're waiting for Naman, I can also share some of the graphs that I've also been looking at had been from Gartner, from McKinsey, and I think what Naman was showing us before regarding the World Economic Forum charts, I think that they've been very good. So those reports are also completely accessible online. And if you guys listening in, if you want to go and check it out, you can simply Google AI report World Economic Forum, and these charts are actually available for it. I don't know if you guys can still see Naman's screen here. I think I still can. And oh, no, I think he's properly switched it off now and will hopefully come back very soon. I think the newest skill, the most important skill sets to have is indeed maybe for what I think is it's the old type of AI, like the skill set that made AI, which is the predictive analytics and the data collection, data processing skill sets to have. Like, so if I were still in university or I were still in high school, I would choose those topics, if I could, to go into uni for that. And I think it's always very essential to understand what made AI, not just be using it ourselves. And then most importantly though, these skills aside, I think it is about the emotional intelligence Because if AI can do all these things now, like can basically automate all these things, and humans have a different job role, then I think what we can leverage is really our ability to make decisions and be empathetic, have very strong skill strengths in making the decisions and leadership as well. Because if we have like a fleet of AI employees, we as well as human employees or human collaborators, etc., what we all need is proper leadership. So let me see if he will be coming back. Bear with me. If anyone have any questions for Naman, please do feel free to ask them in the chat, or yeah, why don't you please ask them in the chat? So once he's back, we can ask him.
For my Zoom, I don't know.
No
Is
worries,
it
okay.
crashing? I'm not sure. The PC crashed, but I don't know. I'll have to send it to the team back in.
No worries. No, but thank you for sharing those graphs. And as we were waiting for you, I was just also saying that what I think about what kind of skill sets we all need during this period of time. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've just invited everyone in the audience to ask any questions if any. So I'm gonna wait for people to. Okay, there you go. There's one from Winston. Thanks, Winston. Hi, Naman. Thank you for your presentation. Really nice to hear your family oriented too. Very wholesome. I saw in your background on LinkedIn, you come from a computational background to which you can relate to. Did you find that it helps to think more computationally, a way of grasshopper coding, to structure AI's capability and the creation for stage lens AI?
Not particular. Again, thanks for the kind words. First of all, Winston, by the time my PC was restarting, I saw your connection on LinkedIn. But yeah, thanks for connecting. But I believe in the creation of stage lens, we don't have too much of an parametric approach. So we basically use Grasshopper for parametric studies. And so initially, when I started learning Grasshopper, I realized we have much more parametric control over designs. And for parametric designs, it's always best to use Grasshopper that we are taught. But right now, what I perceive and tend to say to anyone who is learning AI is that AI is also something that is now parametric. You can easily change parameters. Yes, the UI is different now. You just have to chat with it. And of course, it definitely helps if you are a computational designer because you actually know the logic behind it. And if you are using Grasshopper, there are a bunch of tools that gives you more control over the outputs. I know a couple of founders. There are folks from, I believe, Moritz from Raven AI who has actually integrated AI
Yeah,
into Grasshopper. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that is also something that's a cherry on the top. You can, and it really helps to, it increases the capacity of your AI workflows if you learn softwares like Grasshopper.
Great. Thank you for that. So another question from Bosco. Hanuman, thank you for the presentation and the discussion. In your opinion, what is the role of architects in 10, 20 years? Since AI has decreased the bar of technical skills, and what does it mean to be an if that's still the name we are referring to in the future?
I believe AI can take, it can take the control of the manual work from us. It can take that out and do it for yourself. So for architect, especially, I don't believe that role will go anywhere. It will be still here because at the end, AI can't have credibility. Credibility should always be something that the architect has. So let us suppose there is a client in Europe or maybe India who has to get some designs vetted. So at the end, that AI can help me with that design, but at the end, I have to be the one who has to vet those designs, check whether the structural integrity is correct. To give you some example, there was a report 2 months back where Deloitte India handed over 400 or 300 pager report to a firm in Australia, and that report was AI generated, and that report costed $400,000 to Deloitte itself, and they had to recall it. So you see, the credibility went down to Deloitte
Oh,
itself. It didn't went to that. Yes, this AI did it wrong. AI is not credible for us. So similarly for architecture, if you're constructing a building or something important, the creativity and the credibility should always be and will be with the architect. So I believe for next 20 years, architect in itself is going to be replaced, or will it be there? Yes, it will be there, but it's only the matter of how efficiently are you using these softwares with as an architect, so that you're able to actually guaranteeing you good work for your working. So yeah,
right.
that
Yeah.
is what I think.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Well, Naman, I think I'm going to wrap up this conversation by asking you one question that I always ask our guests. By the way, Winston's saying thank you so much
Thanks, Winston.
for the inspiring mindset. Yeah, so I ask this question every time to a guest. If you have to describe success in one word, what is your word for that?
Innovate,
Sorry, come again?
innovate.
Innovate. Okay. Can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
expand on that?
Yeah, so success is something that is ever always evolving. It's not something that is static. So let us suppose I get some success today. So I won't say that, it's going to be sustained success. For me, success in itself means, sustaining it for a longer term, right? So in India or someplace else, if you get good amount of, you will be called a failure even if you are at the epitome
Oh,
of your, even if you are the epitome of your, money or whatever career, whatever you can
mm,
say. But if you didn't sustain it for that long, it's not a success. And if you can't innovate, then you can't sustain
mm.
it for a longer term. So
Oh,
for me,
wow.
it's
Okay,
about innovation.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
matches with your profile completely. So I'm not too surprised. Yeah, that's great. So that's why you're doing
Yeah.
what you're doing now. So,
Yeah.
Naman,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. This is great. I really enjoyed this conversation. So I'm hoping that also the audience got a lot from what you shared today. Also, not just for your personal drive, but also the multiple endeavors that you're focusing on right now. And very excited to see what else you're gonna come up with in the future. So all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adrian. And thanks for inviting me over here. Again, felt really good to chat with you today. And again, apologies for keep breaking out of the call.
No worries, it
It only
happens.
happens, it only happens at the most, the times. So
No
yeah,
worries. I've been there,
great
been
to be
there.
here. Great
Yeah,
to be here.
fantastic. Thank you so much. So take care. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you guys. Bye
Bye
bye. See
bye.
you.